First contact with Joshua Pope.
All right, so as you may have heard, some of the news today, the big news today, has to do with Loretta Lynch. Loretta Lynch is being called up to go and testify. Let me bring this right up here and let's jump right into this story. This broke this morning, probably around 11 o'clock, started breaking. I was actually seeing hints and rumors of this in some of the forums prior to that, and then the final announcement came out. This is from the Washington Times. It says the Senate Judiciary Committee has opened a probe into former Attorney General Loretta Lynch's efforts to shape the FBI investigation into the 2016 Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton, the committee chairman announced Friday. In a letter to Ms. Lynch, the committee asked her to detail the depths of her involvement in the FBI's investigation, including whether she ever assisted Clinton confidants with the probe, that she wouldn't push too deeply into the matter. Fired FBI Director James B. Comey said he publicly stated that Ms. Lynch tried to shape the way that he talked about the investigation into Ms. Clinton's emails, and he also hinted at other behavior, which I cannot talk about yet, but made him worried about Mrs. Lynch's ability to make impartial decisions. Mr. Comey said that was the one reason why he took it upon himself to buck the Justice Department tradition and reveal his findings about Ms. Clinton last year. The probe into Ms. Lynch comes as the Judiciary Committee is already looking at President Trump's firing of Mr. Comey. Senator Charles E. Grassley, chairman of the committee, said the investigation is bipartisan. The letter to Ms. Lynch is signed by the ranking Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein and also by Senators Lindsey Graham and Sheldon Whitehouse, the chairman and ranking member of the key investigative subcommittee. Letters also went to campaign staffer Amanda Renteria and Leonardo Bernardo and Gail Scoville at the Open Society Foundation. The side note here, the Open Society Foundation, that would be George Soros' organization. Mr. Bernardo was reportedly on an email chain from the then head of the DNC suggesting that Ms. Lynch had given assurances to Ms. Renteria, the campaign staffer, that the Clinton probe wouldn't go too far. At the Senate hearing earlier this month, Mr. Comey told lawmakers that Ms. Lynch had attempted to change the way the FBI described its probe of Ms. Clinton's use of private email server. The change appeared to dovetail with how Ms. Clinton supporters were characterizing the probe. At one point, Ms. Lynch directed me not to call it an investigation, but instead to call it a matter which confused me and concerned me, Mr. Comey said during his June 8 testimony before the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. That was one of the bricks in the load that led me to conclude that I have to step away from the department if we are to close this case credibly. Acknowledging that he didn't know whether it was intentional, Mr. Comey said Mrs. Lynch's request gave the impression on the Attorney General was looking to align the way that we talked about her investigation with the political campaign describing the same activity. Mr. Comey said the language suggested that Ms. Lynch was troublesome because it closely mirrored what the Clinton campaign was using. Despite his discomfort, Mr. Comey said he agreed to Mrs. Lynch's language. Okay, and therein lies the problem. So that's good. Okay, people are going to get called out for this. I told you this was going to be happening. You know, we've been hearing it for a while. The media wants to tell us otherwise because they, are so terrified about this. But this is happening. This is real. This is going on. Okay, so that's link is up on my Twitter feed for today. You can go check it out. And but I think that's really the biggest story that's out there right now. We certainly know that during the course of this time, she was extremely, extremely guilty. There's no doubt about that whatsoever. She lied. You can go back, you can watch her various testimonies that she's giving. And I mean, this woman is lying all the way around. So it'd be good to see how this unfolds with her doing everything going before this committee here. That'll be really very good to see. Let's see what else we've got here. This is in regards to this investigation. Here's a piece that went out from Congressman Andy Biggs. He's calling on Robert Mueller to recuse himself from the Russian investigation. This letter states, today, Congressman Andy Biggs called for Special Counsel Robert Mueller to recuse himself from the Department of Justice investigation. Special Counsel Robert Mueller should recuse himself because the integrity of his appointment is in question due to the former FBI Director James Comey manipulative leaks in the relationship between Mr. Comey and Mr. Mueller. His ability to be impartial is doubtful because he has surrounded himself with highly partisan lawyers who make a special practice to line the coffers of Democrats. We learned after Mr. Mueller's appointment that Mr. Comey leaked government memos hoping to influence the appointment of a special counsel. Mr. Comey's actions were rewarded by a media frenzy that backed the administration into a nightmarish corner, leading to the appointment of a close friend, Mr. Mueller. Since taking on the role, Mr. Mueller has made blatantly partisan hires that put the integrity of the investigation into question. I am gravely concerned by all of this and have concluded that Robert Mueller should recuse himself from further involvement. This investigation should not be centered around President Trump, as multiple high-ranking officials, including Mr. Comey and former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper, have stated that they have not seen any evidence that he colluded with Russia or that he was under any investigation. The spotlight instead should be squarely on the Obama administration's failure to protect the United States of America from attempted Russian interference in the 2016 election. In testimony this week before the House Intelligence Committee, the former DHS Secretary Jay Johnson admitted that the Obama administration even knew of Russia involvement in the 2016 election but delayed making it public. The American people deserve to know the full story behind these actions, not a nefarious tall tale to undermine President Trump. The progress of the Trump administration during President Trump's first 5 months in office have been slowed by the unsourced allegations meant to sabotage his administration and derail his agenda to make the country great again. It is time for Congress and the Department of Justice to regain full control of these investigations and allow the president to govern the country as he was elected to do. So I'm sure that we will hear more of these kind of calls as the days go by. But it certainly seems from everything we've been hearing about Mueller that the only right thing for him to do is to recuse himself, because there is far too much connection between these two. I mean, we can go back. There's a story out there about Comey and Mueller working on a particular case where there was a gentleman, a third gentleman, who was falsely accused of an anthrax-related incident. And this man ended up suing and receiving $4.5–5 million from this. But the same two people who tried to frame that man, that innocent man, are here. But as we can see, this isn't going unnoticed. I find it quite humorous that so many individuals take Donald Trump for granted. They think that he's some sort of a fool. And I think he's okay with that, because if they think that about him, then they're going to underestimate him. And every time they keep underestimating him, what does he do? He keeps on winning. And they keep thinking that he doesn't know what he's doing. So let them keep thinking that, and he's going to keep playing the high level of multidimensional chess that he's playing, and we'll just keep on winning. That's what he said we'd do, right? Keep on winning? So let's keep on winning. So the other question that was brought up within that article I just read was about Obama and what he knew. President Trump tweeted out today, he said the Obama administration knew far in advance of November 8th about the election meddling by Russia, but did nothing about it. Why? And that is a very, very excellent question to ask. Because if they did know that there was a problem, if they did know that this was going on, why didn't they stop it? Or why didn't they say something? As a matter of fact, don't you recall President Obama even coming out and stating that there was no election fraud, that it wasn't possible to happen. So he kind of went the opposite way of announcing it. He just denied it. And so now when we look back, people can say, wait a minute, he knew. He knew about this, and yet he allowed it to happen. So we'll see. And keep an eye out for the further tweets that are coming from President Trump. And if you're going to try to understand what he's about, then you better learn to kind of read between the lines and look ahead a few steps, because he's not playing the same game the way others are playing. He's a few steps ahead, and there's many sources and places where you can see confirmation of that. Now, yesterday I gave a good rundown of the Seth Rich story, the investigation that is taking place. I did go ahead and I updated on my home site, firstcontactradio.com, section here of all kind of stories about Seth Rich and information, so you can go and follow on with the investigation, keep up with what's taking place there, because this is a very significant thing. You see, when all is said and done with this whole mess that's going on, we've got so many crimes that are connected. These pedophilia rings across the country are connected in to political leaders and agendas and other countries, and tied into so much. When Seth Rich finally becomes unraveled, we're going to find so many pieces of the puzzle. And so right now we're just seeing these little bits and pieces, like the Muslim Brotherhood is one piece. And then you got the human trafficking is another piece. And then you got Seth Rich is another piece. And then you have WikiLeaks. And then you have the DNC. But ultimately, all these pieces come together as one large mosaic that exposes a very intricate criminal network. And the swamp is indeed very deep, but I have a high degree of trust that our president is dealing with that accordingly. No worries or concerns on my part at all, and I don't think you should be worried or concerned either, because that's the job he was brought for, and he's doing the job indeed. Now, I've been talking the last couple days about the situation that we have here in America with Muslims. And before you get all excited about, oh no, I'm being racist, let's just slow down and take a look at the situation. Because we do have a problem. It's very easy to see that there's a problem of radicals across this world of ours that are causing a great deal of problem. And we need to get to the bottom of that, or we need to accept that these problems will continue to exist. I personally would rather see us get to the bottom of it. And the way we get to the bottom of it is we have to find out where the problem makers are sneaking into our country, where they are getting into other countries. And guess what? One of the ways that they're going into other countries is through the refugee programs, believe it or not. Go figure, right? Go figure that they would sneak in through a program of refugees that are being welcomed into the country with open arms. And so while they're being let in with open arms, the people that are welcoming them in, they don't want to take any consideration that anybody coming in is a bad person, because they think everybody is so wonderful and so good. But that isn't the case, because we have 1,400 years of history of the Islamic jihads moving forward using the refugee programs and sneaking into countries as they are refugees. It's happened over and over and over again, and I'm sure they'll continue to use that tactic as long as it keeps working. It's been 1,400 years of working. It's still working. People are still getting fooled. So here's a story. This is out from Gecko Magazine. It says, riots about to erupt after Minnesota just handed full control to Muslims to take down infidels. This is here in America, in Minnesota. The cancer of Islam is rapidly spreading across the planet thanks to liberal politicians who keep letting these vermin invade westernized countries. As terror attacks committed by Muslims are now becoming an almost everyday occurrence, what's even more horrifying is that the distraught citizens are being silenced for speaking out against Islam as we continue to see people across Europe being imprisoned for saying negative things about Muslims, as Islam anti-blasphemy laws are now being held up in courts. Well, we would expect that this sort of nonsense to go on in countries like Canada and Germany. The very sort of thing was just established in Minnesota. Muslims understand fully that in order to establish their global caliphate ruled by Sharia law, they must first infiltrate every facet of westernized society through massive immigration and breeding. As these Muslim invaders infest our government, our schools, and our law enforcement agencies, Muslims are working furiously to silence Americans who are calling them out, which is why we see Muslims constantly labeling people as Islamophobes and bigots as a way to bully American citizens into submission. Anti-blasphemy laws have been a massive victory for Muslims across the world, as now followers of Islam can have people who speak out or criticize the religion thrown into prison. In an unprecedented and unconstitutional move, liberal politicians in Minneapolis have just set up a hotline where Muslims can call in and report any American who harasses or speaks out against their religion. Well, this sounds like something you'd read off the conspiracy website, but it's really happening. According to the Minneapolis local newspaper, the Star Tribune, the hotline was set up as a way to target Trump supporters who Muslims believe are the group of people most likely to harass them. The city of Minneapolis has set up a hotline for residents to report hate crime incidents and other acts of intolerance. The service, operated through the city's 311 helpline, is aimed to aid targets of any harassing behaviors motivated by prejudice, according to a City News release issued on Monday. The announcement comes amid signs of recent surge of such incidents affecting Muslims and Jews across the country, many of which go unreported. Since the general election, many of us have experienced or witnessed firsthand or heard of actions of racism, xenophobia, sexism, bigotry directed at people here and in cities across the United States. Minneapolis Department of Civil Rights Director Velma Corbel wrote in a statement posted on the city's website, "In no uncertain terms will hate-motivated speech and actions have a place in Minneapolis, nor will they be tolerated." The city's Department of Civil Rights, along with the mayor, is leading the charge for this government-enforced fascism, as the new hotline will now encourage citizens to turn in their neighbors for holding opinions deemed forbidden by the state. This hotline flies right in the face of the United States Constitution, where it goes to the heart, the very heart of denying American citizens their inalienable rights of the First Amendment, which governments cannot do. Of course, the rabid liberals controlling the city have little regard for the Constitution or the rights of Americans, as they are using their position to establish a soft version of anti-blasphemy laws. In no uncertain terms, hate-motivated speech and actions have no place in Minneapolis, nor will they be tolerated. This is the statement on the website. The department echoes the unconstitutional sentiments of Minneapolis Mayor Betsy Hodges, who went on to blast President Trump, pushing her insane narrative of there being an epidemic of bigotry and hate in our country since he got into office. She stated, "I will not compromise the public safety of the people of Minneapolis to satisfy Trump's desire to put politics before public safety. Minneapolis is being built and strengthened by people from all over the world, and I am grateful for their commitment to our city. I stand with them today and will continue to take that stand as the president-elect prepares to take office." See, what we have here is a woman, a mayor who is completely uneducated and uninformed about history. 1,400 years of history where they've gone in and they've taken over places just like this, yet she is uninformed. And because she's uninformed, she's going to spread that lack of wisdom to others. So now here in America, in a city in America, we have people that aren't American citizens, or maybe they are, but they have a different ideology. They're going to now be able to report Americans who are simply concerned. You see, my concern with Islam isn't the Muslims, it's the 1400 years of history of torturous behavior, of barbaric acts, of enslavement, of going into cities and causing violence. That's what I have the problem with. What I have the problem with is the fact that these jihadis are sneaking into countries as refugees. And so I think that any smart country simply needs to take a good look at their program to make sure that there aren't any bad guys sneaking in with the good people. It's really not brain surgery, but for some reason, we seem to be in this place of thinking where we don't understand how to deal with this. So we're just going to let them all in because, oh, they're all good people. But we're seeing what's going on in other countries, aren't we? We're seeing what's going on in Germany. You see, this isn't a game, America. This is not a game. This is real world happening now. Because if what happens to America what happens in Germany right now with that expansion of the Muslims and the refugees, and you see how they're tearing that country apart, if we start having that here, we're in a big trouble. We can't take that back so easily. You've got to then go out and fight against that. And I'm pretty certain that the women in this country would not like to have some of these restrictions of Sharia law imposed upon them. I'm pretty certain that the same women who are crying out, we need to let them in, would be horribly upset to find out that they were wrong about their decisions. Unfortunately, if they're wrong and these people are in and they're here to cause problems, well, then it's too late. So it's best now that we deal with the situation before it gets to be too late. Now, we do have some problems that are going on because in addition to there being jihadists, Islamists who are here that want to cause problems, they've been infiltrating our country for the last 27 years, embedding themselves in our society, in our educational systems. Okay? This isn't something I'm making up. This is according to their own words and the documents that are out there supporting all of their activities. They're not necessarily hiding it from us. It's just kept under wraps and not discussed, but once one takes a look, one can find very easily the plan that is in effect to take over, to kill the infidels. And guess who the infidels are? That's right. If you're listening to this show, you are considered one of the infidels, just like I am, and just like all other Americans. Why are we infidels? Because we are completely the opposite of what they are. The opposite. Here in America, we have many, many different religious beliefs that we are open to. All agree upon the same religious beliefs, but we're open to experiencing them. We're even so open that we're willing to look and see what this Islam is about. But now, the situation is not equal because Islam does not consider any other places, any other religions. No, they don't. Not at all. It's their way or the highway. As a matter of fact, if you believe in some of these other ideologies or religions other than theirs, they will kill you for that, which is why there are problems. Because they are killing people who don't believe and think the same way that they do. Now let's step back from that, because here we have a group that are killing people, hurting people because they do not think the way that they do. Flash forward to America, and what do we have? We have members of a political group, the left, who are running out there hurting people because they don't think the way that they do. That's how we can kind of see there's too much of a connection that is going on out there. There's too much of this ideology that has seeped into our society, and a part of our society has adopted as something good. Here's a piece that shows something that we certainly need to bring under control. This was a posting here from to Antifa for Muslim LBG Rights, Georgia. Our brothers and sisters, they have mocked us, they have beaten us, they are fascist children of Hitler. Trump and his supporters are the threat to the free, progressive world of Christianity, fascism, and capitalism. Thank you to our Mujahideen brother, the truest freedom fighters, for providing us with an array of fascist blasters. We've also included instructions how to make your own 3D printed tools and weapons to fight fascism in our Dropbox. Next time Republicans try to silence us or disrupt our protests, we will have lead embedded in their skulls. Fight fascism, impeach Trump. So this is an Antifa group. They are connecting with ISIS, with the Mujahideen, with the members that want to hurt us. These are Antifa groups. They want to go out and hurt Americans. Again, this is not a game. I ran into Antifa members. I went to a rally in downtown LA. Walked up to the point where I was meeting all of the others. Walked around the corner and boom, there I saw, walking directly towards me, trying to block my path. Antifa member. Big red bandana on with the communist symbols on it. I mean, so silly. So silly. And the whole day, all they were out there to do was cause violence and cause problems. It was just absolutely ridiculous to see. I mean, I've not ever seen a group express so much hatred for the country where they live. If you don't like this country, why are you still here? That's what I don't understand. When you hear all the complaints from people about how bad it is, why are they still here? Michael Moore, you keep complaining, why are you still here? Because it seems to me if you're complaining, then you can't be happy. And if you're not happy, then what's the point? So go someplace where you're going to be happy. Very weird. Of course, you've all heard about the Johnny Depp scenario now. He has issued an apology after his stupid comments. Chances are he's probably was told by a management group of some sort that he needed to go out and fix things real quick because doesn't he have a new movie coming out? I'm sure that the people at Disney don't want to know that he is suddenly alienating half of their audience. I'm sure that doesn't want to get out there. So he made an apology, but people remember. You know, he made this stupid comment trying to make a joke, saying that he's sorry. He was trying to make a joke, but what kind of joke was he trying to make? What kind of a joke do you make about an assassination? But let's look at this thing that he attempted to say because he wanted to make a comparison to John Wilkes Booth. You know what John Wilkes Booth's profession was? He was an actor, just like Johnny Depp. What kind of roles does Johnny Depp play? Well, didn't he just recently play Whitey Bulger? Hasn't he played some really dark roles where he has characters that have gone out and killed people? Okay, so you got an actor, Johnny Depp, who wants to somewhat compare himself to another actor, John Wilkes Booth, who killed somebody in real life, and Johnny Depp has played characters that have killed people. I would certainly think that the Secret Service is going to pay that man a visit to see where his mindset is, because you don't want that kind of that's poison. That's nonsense. There's no reason for that at all. Not one bit at all. Completely ridiculous. So it's just these people don't learn. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I do. It's anger. There's so much anger and hatred right now that's still out there bouncing around that it's blinding people from being able to think clearly. And so people are saying things in anger, in moments of anger and hatred that is coming out and is just making them sound really despicable. Really despicable. So Those are kind of the big highlight points of what's going on right at the moment. I'm going to jump away. I'm going to play a song here, come back, and let's switch gears and let's jump into the UFO topic for just a little bit. Haven't talked about that this week. So, song here is called Confirm or Deny.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass. And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Underground is where they live, in the bases that are secretive. We're not supposed to know where they come from or where they go. And if you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lives? Plausible deniability. That's their answer to all we think we see. So pay attention, read between the lines. Changes are happening, revealing lies. And if you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lives? Underground is where they live, in the bases that are secretive. We're not supposed to know where they come from or where they go. And if you ask our leaders today, this is what they will say. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. I can neither confirm or deny. What's up with their lives? I can neither confirm or deny. They can neither confirm or deny. It's time for them, confirm or deny. No more secret lies. I don't know about you, but I can't stand it anymore. I know what I saw. You know what you saw. Stand up for yourself. Think for yourself. The truth is out there. No more lies. No more lies. No more lies.